Okay, we're gonna set up this viscometer, all right? So we got this ring stand type thing, all right? We have, now the viscometer, you want to be very careful about how you handle it. We don't want any strong bumps or anything. If you bump it hard, it can ruin its ability to perform well, okay? So we have this bar here, slides right into this little container here. I have this container, right? It's a silver briefcase type thing. All right, this bar here winds into the back of the actual control device or whatever, the whole thing right here. We wind it in. Hand tight's fine. You have a wrench if you need to go tighter, but usually that's fine. That's going to slide into this bar right there. This loosens up to let it slide in good. Then we tighten it up like that. Nice and tight. We prefer this not to rotate around. So that's when your wrench can come in to get yourself a nice tight fit there. Try to keep this straight up and down. There's a bubble here to make sure you have it straight up and down. All right, so you can make sure that that's straight up and down with that level bubble on top. Then righty-tighty, tighten that up there. We can finish centering that bubble with the stands. Right here. The stand feet, they can dial in and out so you can get this bubble centered there. All right, there's a power supply here. Plug it in. We have our different probes inside this little kit right here, this little container. All right, we have 4 different sizes, okay? Depending on the viscosity of your material, you might want to, it'll make you decide which size you want to choose. So I think for now I will choose the second to the largest size. At the top of these, there's a little number right at the very top. It's hard to see, but if you spin this around, you'll be able to see the number. This one says 2. So this is the second largest. Number 1 is the first largest. There's a notch here that tells you the depth that you want to have the liquid in. This is the part where you want to be especially gentle, unscrewing this portion right here, and it's not righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, it's the opposite. So, well, you know, this yellow thing is righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, sorry, but this portion right here is the opposite. So it's lefty, or not righty-tighty, it's lefty-tighty here. So you'll figure that out fast enough. But you definitely want to be careful when you're screwing this on, not to put too much torque on the spindle there. And okay, then I can use the far right one here to go up and down. That right? I'll bring it up a little bit higher. Okay, I want my solution to be large enough that it can dip down to that level right there. So I'll get some of this solution here, and look, that's not quite enough. So I'll get a little bit more. I don't want it to touch the bottom. That's going to be good right there. All right. So I can bring this in like that. Make sure it's not touching the sides. Make sure it's hanging nice and flat. This will tell you that things are flat as well. And then I can lower this down gently until the top of the volume level is at the little notch in the shaft there. Okay. Then I'm going to take the, there's a power switch on the back here. Turn on the power switch. All right. Rotor number. I can select the rotor number. This is rotor number, whoops. This is rotor number 2. The speed, I can change the speed. We'll start there. And then we can say okay right here. And if we say okay, we see that it's beginning to spin gently. And after a while, we should get a reading for the millipascal seconds. And that's our viscosity. All right. So we want the torque percent, I think, to be relatively high. I'm thinking it needs to be about 50%. So right now we're at 11%. So we would like that to get a little bit higher. So I'm going to push reset here, pause, push reset again, and go back to the RPMs by increasing the RPMs up to, maybe we'll go to 30 here, and then say okay. Now we see it spinning a little bit faster. We can see that change there. And our torque percentage is now above 50%. So we should be good with that number there. Our torque, our data values, 563 millipascal seconds, right? That data is not changing over time. I mean, it's okay if it changes, but that's showing us that we're getting a consistent reading over and over and over for that viscosity. Let's see, it looks like I have some air down there. So I'm going to swing it sideways to get rid of that air bubble. There we go. That's not what we want. We don't want to have air on there. There we go. Let's see where we're at now. Let's let it settle. Make sure we're not touching the side anywhere. Okay, that's good. So there's some measurement for our viscosity. All right, so you would just do that, but at different temperatures, raising the temperature. So you'll probably have to use a glass container here. Again, you need the volume to be high enough so that it comes to the notch in there. The bottom can be closer to the bottom of the spindle can be closer to the bottom, so you can lower that down if necessary. But again, the top of the fluid needs to be at the top of that notch in the spindle. Okay. Other than that, that should be our viscosity, and then we can use different temperatures. So again, the torque is about 60%, so that's good, and that value doesn't seem to be changing much, so looks like we're good. So these are probably the settings that you'll want to use to measure the viscosity of glycine. So we'll just want to do that at different temperatures then.